Hello, I'm Valerie Owens, chair of the Biden Institute at the University of Delaware. Today, I have the privilege of introducing State Representative Michael Smith. Mike has represented Delaware's 22nd House District since 2018. Thank you, Representative, for joining us today on this episode of All Politics is Personal, a program where we introduce the public to the person behind the politician. As a point of personal privilege, I do need to mention that I know Representative Smith well. He is employed here at the University of Delaware. He was also given the Biden School's first SNF Civility Award for his work on mental health in Delaware. Anyone can research your policies and accomplishments, but that's not what we are here to talk about today. Today, we want to talk about you and what it was like for you growing up Smith.
Sure. Well, appreciate being on here. Thank you very much for having me.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Let's tell us about your child. Tell us about you.
Sure. Grew up by a single mother in Murray Manor Trailer Park. Never really knew my dad. Met him a few times. None of it very personal. And my mom passed away when I was 10. And my aunt actually passed away 6 months before that. And so my upbringing was very much like Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. My grandma raised me and my cousins herself, and actually had a great upbringing. I felt like I had more from her than most people do with mother and father households. Yeah.
Your cousins, how many? So they were like your siblings? You all grew in the same place?
Yeah. They're all from Delaware. So when my mom passed away, I was 10, they were 13 and 16, and then one of my other cousins, we're all boys. We only do boys in my family.
I see.
That's all I'm good at as well.
And you have three sons, right?
I have 3 sons, yes. I'm keeping that tradition
alive.
Yeah,
okay, well,
absolutely.
You can tell me more about them, I hope.
Yes.
When you were a kid, growing up,
Yeah.
what did you have a hobby? What did you do?
Yeah, I was big into sports. My grandma really pushed me to be well-rounded, so I also did like all-state chorus. I did theater, but I was really, really into sports. I played 5 sports in high school. Little League was something I remember fondly and loved, playing baseball year-round and basketball and other things. But sports is what really drove me.
What was your favorite sport?
Definitely baseball and basketball.
What position?
Center fielder and pitcher in baseball. Started off actually started the varsity team as a catcher, but that's really tough when you're playing against 12th graders in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Eventually got my arm up there, but center field was always my favorite.
Did you like school besides the sports?
I liked school, but I don't think I had a great enough appreciation for it at the time. I was good at school. I was on honor society and got A's and B's, but I more liked going to school so I could play in the games.
What was your favorite academic?
Definitely math. Loved math. I loved being able to solve a problem.
Jeez, I would never have made it. Math wasn't. So instead of taking math, majoring in math, you in real life went on to major in politics, but we'll talk about solving problems
Sure.
with that. When you were a kid, did you worry about anything? And putting that in the context of today, as we know, all the Gen Z, not all they, generalization, the Generation Z kids have so much on their minds. All the reports say they're worried about planet Earth, about gun violence, about inequity. Did you have any major, pressing thought that propelled you then to the path that you?
My main thing wasn't worrying about it. I was literally living with it. After we went to live with my grandma, my uncle came to live with us. And when he was at his best and sober, he was a great man who did a lot of good things to help us, but not necessarily the father figure you needed. He had really bad drug addiction, really bad alcoholism. And so, I've been beaten by a gun before. I've been threatened by guns. I've literally picked him up off the streets in Philly and in Wilmington to get him to the ER because he was about to die from overdose or getting beat up by drug dealers. So I wasn't really worried about what could be. I was more worried about getting through the storm.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there, but for the grace of God, huh?
And a hardcore grandma.
Yeah. And I guess that but it helps clarify even more so why you're so interested in mental health and addiction and working to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, every family, some way, is touched by it.
Absolutely.
Some more extreme than others. But is that one of the major reasons that pushed you into that field?
Yeah, it was absolutely one of the number one reasons that pushed me into it. Right before COVID hit, I was actually doing a commercial for DSCA on the mental health stuff, and that's when the majority leader got to hear a little bit about my personal story, and we bonded over that and started working on it together. I'm a big proponent that if we give people mental health supports earlier in life, we're going to help them later in life, and that helps the bigger picture, the state budget, everything else. Making people more productive members of society. So I got really passionate about it during that time, and thought it was something I could bring value to.
My mom and dad, when we were growing up, had adages that they would say to us again and again. Like my mom, the thing that most defines a man or a woman are simple acts of kindness, and there's no greater sin than the abuse of power. Yep. Did your grandmother, this strong woman, who has all these boys, did she have any things that I would say, drilled into your head that were just absolutes? Sure,
there was a lot of different things, but I think she always came at everything that she said with the lens of the glass half full, right? So one thing she would always say is, you can have a bad moment, but don't let it make you have a bad day. And a lot of that is around your mind, so you get to dictate what you're going through. And there was that time when we were losing a lot of folks and whatnot in our family where we kind of always thought, man, who's going to die next? Or, when's the next shoe going to drop? But she would always say, don't forget, somebody always has it worse off than we do. So always go out and try to help somebody every day, because you never know what they're going through if you're going through this. And I think that really helped with the empathy side of things and how I've kind of dictated my life from there.
Has faith played a role in your life?
Absolutely. Definitely a person of faith. And I was actually an altar boy growing up in the Episcopal Church, which was funny because I don't know if this has happened to anybody else, but I came off of a baseball tournament one time and I didn't have a chance to eat dinner or eat breakfast before we went to church that morning. And I fainted and flipped over the pew. I had to be woken up in church. And my grandma always jokingly said, man, you'd do anything to get out of church and go to breakfast. Yeah. Are
you still a member of that church, the same church?
Not a active member of that church. My wife's actually a children's ministry director at the church where we go now. So we actively go there because most Sundays I'm helping her volunteer in ministry.
What, for like... CCD classes, Catholics, we call them CCD classes after...
Similar, absolutely, yeah. So I help with the younger kids, roughly like 9 and younger. So.
Speaking of younger kids, how old are your children and what are their names?
Yeah, so Braden, he's my 11-year-old, he turns 12 in March. Nathan, he's my 8-year-old, he just turned 8 in October. And Troy is my almost 2-year-old. His birthday is coming up December 21st.
Where do they go in school, and are they sports or math fanatics? Not fanatics. Are they math majors or?
So my 2 oldest go to Odyssey Charter School, and that was more of a decision because my mother-in-law teaches there. And so from a transportation perspective, she's the only grandparent we have between me and my wife. So that really helps us out a lot. Yeah. And they're definitely sports fanatics. We had a traveling flag football tournament this weekend, and the weekend before that we had travel soccer tournaments, and now they're on to basketball and still traveling.
It seems like it will never, having been through 3 children.
Yeah.
You're behind the wheel the whole time. You're driving. I mean, which is good. Keeps them off the street, right?
You have to live and operate in the chaos and just embrace it most of the time. And quite honestly, it gave me a greater appreciation for what my grandmother went through, because I was the same exact way. And, the amount of money and time that it takes. So I really just try to preach to them, like, the amount of sacrifice parents put into this stuff for you guys is great. But to my grandmom's point, like, she used to always preach to me, like, you're a statistic, everyone is, but you're on the bad statistical side of things. So I want to keep you so busy that you don't even think about something stupid to do. And that
She's
worked
a
pretty
wise
well.
woman.
I just would pass out at the end of each day after homework. So
What was your first job?
my first job, I was a laborer for a construction company that it was my grandfather's nephew owned at the time. And so I would wake up like early in the morning, like 3:30 in the morning, and drive to Rehoboth Beach and help build houses, and then come home and be in bed before 7 o'clock just so I could do it again the next day.
Are you any good at home as a handyman?
My wife would say
Honey, can you
no to
fix
that,
this?
but she's also, her uncle is so good at that stuff that it makes me look really bad. So I just try to follow whatever he's doing so that I can do it pretty well. But I'm very pragmatic and logical, so I can follow the progressions pretty well to get things done.
Well, from construction, your first job, to your real job now as a politician, and for the record, politics is a noble profession, so thank you for serving.
Thank you.
But when did the light switch off? How did you make the transition to go into politics? How old were you and why?
I was majoring in political science and legal studies in college here at University of Delaware, and then just decided I wanted to get an internship and started there. But I really started enjoying it when I worked for Congressman Mike Castle here in Delaware. Fine man. You said politician, which is really interesting to me because I talk to a lot of folks and I always tell people, I'm like, we need more public servants and less politicians. And that's more than the traditional sense. I feel like a lot of modern folks are more politicians than public servants. And Mike Castle was definitely a public servant, and I model my career.
Well, in my vocabulary, I think, as I said, I think politics is a noble profession, and the politicians who they are public servants by that's the way it should be by definition. But it doesn't always. But you're won't be the exception to the rule. You're the leader.
I try to be.
And others will follow you. What was the? At what point was this? When you said you were in college?
So after college is when I worked for Mike Castle.
As a real job or as an intern?
As a real job, yes. It was.
What were you qualified to do?
Worst paid, best job I've ever had. Yeah.
Which was what?
So I did the communications work, and then in 2008 ran his campaign. So I did a lot of local kind of races in college and understood it. I think most people consider me more of a data person. It's also when I figured out that my wife really probably wanted to marry me because she dressed up as the Bride of Frankenstein during the Halloween parade for Castle as Frankenstein. That's when I knew she really.
So I was probably at the same parade because 2008
sure
we were campaign managers.
Yeah. That's where I've always been more natural. I didn't think about doing it myself really as something until the person before me was retiring. But at the time, I was kind of going through things most people go through later in life. Star Campus, helping reshape that as a job is something, because that's more workforce and economic development. My wife and her mom were teachers. We were having children, so I was deeply thinking about our education system at the time. And then, unfortunately, very early in life, I became a caregiver to my grandmother. She moved in with my wife and I, and we took care of her until she passed away. And that's what really kind of drew me to it. It was like, I'm in it kind of dealing with all this stuff right now. What better time to deal with it than when you're in it, in the storm dealing
How long did your grandmother live with you?
Almost 9 years.
Oh.
Yeah, she lost, my uncle was still pretty bad. I got a call during my 2018 campaign while I was at the door. He finally succumbed to his drug addiction. And that was, I would say, probably the most peaceful I've ever seen my grandmom. I think she thought she was going to get that phone call for 40 years. So she was sad, but at some point I think it brought her peace too. And that's when she had done one of those reverse mortgages that.
Oh yeah.
And the problem is she had a stroke right afterwards. So if you're going to stay there a long time, it's a good thing. But she didn't, so she had to come live with us. And my wife jokingly says now we could have made a TV show of those years called Me, My Man, and Nan.
Well, that's a good woman for your. It's presumptuous of me to say, but for your wife to.
Oh, she is the best.
Open her arms to your grandmother, who
Yeah, I mean, you make that promise to each other through the vows. You don't think it's going to happen a year and a half after you get married. And I would say too, like the one thing I would tell people, I think I think it's a really tough position, and it's something every family is going to have to deal with, because we're, at a strikingly high rate dealing with adult diapers more than baby diapers.
Yeah.
But it's something that's really hard, because in order to make it work the best, someone does have to stay home and be that primary, almost like doctor caregiver that knows every aspect of that person's life. And the other person really has to work a lot. I worked 2 jobs at the time to try to help, but there's always that friction at the end of the day. It's like you're both tired from different things, and how do you make it work? And so shout out to my wife. I don't know how she did it. Certainly.
A question that is always asked of women candidates, women public politicians, or public servants is, how do you manage, how do you balance work and family? My answer, you don't balance, you juggle.
Yeah.
But what do you say to that?
I would say you're 100% correct. It's all
Could
about
you just
juggling.
say that again?
You're always 100%
Thank
correct.
you. Yeah.
No, it's all about juggling, but with juggling it comes prioritization. I mean, so for me and my wife, we went into this knowing that like our family is going to be a part of every aspect of it. So whether it was campaigning, forcing our kids to go door knocking with us every day, or my oldest son coming to the Capitol with me a lot, or going to a community event or whatever it may be. I mean, more people, I'll give you an example. On Small Business Saturday, before his flag football tournament, we went to 10 small businesses in the district to buy gift cards to give away to other people, more to just try to preach, like, today's the day you help your friends and neighbors. Today is the one day, and we should make that an everyday thing, but today's the day you should try to do that. And whenever we walked in the store, more people were like, "Oh, I knew you were coming. I saw Braden come in."
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And, I think it's important because that kid is 11 years old, and he wakes up every weekend on a Saturday before sports, and all right, who do we have to help this weekend? Like, who's the group that we're helping this weekend? And he just naturally thinks that's what we're supposed to do, is wake up and help people. And I think that's exactly what it's about.
It's a pretty outstanding father first.
I try to be. We all have work to do, for sure.
Public servant. So for you understand completely that all politics is personal.
All politics is definitely personal. I'm a reflection of the father and husband I want to be. I'm also a reflection of who I represent, and those things are always a juggling act, but they're always integrated.
Well, you are appreciated as a public servant and a politician.
Thank you.
Now, I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
That are rapid fire questions.
Love it.
Okay, so are you ready?
I'm
going to
ready.
read. Let me see. What do I
I'm afraid
have?
of what's going to come out first.
Well, we'll cut it if
Yeah,
you
there
don't
we
like
go.
it. Okay, so as a Biden,
Okay.
I have to ask you, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Cookies and cream, or strawberry, depending on the day.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Yeah, I would love to be a ESPN anchor or sports analyst.
So that's what you want to be when you grow up?
That's what I say every day, yes.
Okay.
Still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
Okay.
Yeah.
One word to describe yourself?
Disciplined.
Favorite TV show?
Sports Center. I don't really. My wife would say The Office or Parks and Recreation more closely aligns to our life.
How about favorite music?
Favorite music is Boys to Men.
Can you dance?
I can, unfortunately, yes.
Well, that's a great gift. But you said you could sing. You were in choir.
I am. I was an all-state choir singer. I did not become a bass until my senior year.
So you can sing and you can dance. You can play sports.
Yep.
You're a good father. You're a good husband. Public servant. And when you grow up, you're going to be a great sports commentator.
I would love to be that. Yes. If you have any connections, please let me know.
I don't know anybody, but I'll keep my ear open.
There you go.
My eyes
It's
open.
all about networking.
Do you have a hidden talent?
So I have a hidden talent. My hidden talent that most people wouldn't know before today was definitely singing. Most people would never assume.
But what do you sing?
I used to sing in the church choir. I used to sing in the school choir every year. But I love a cappella is my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's what draws me to Boys to Men.
Okay. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Omnipresent.
Oh my God! Do you want to know that much?
No.
With knowing that much,
Yeah.
there's a great deal of responsibility.
Yes,
That's
there is.
omniscient, but if you're around in every place
Yeah.
you're
It'd be nice to put it all together. I think you'd be able to solve a lot of problems if you knew what everybody was really thinking all the time.
oh my God.
It'd be scary though.
Yeah, it'd be pretty. I'm going to let that power. I'm going to go flying. That's what I'm
There
going to
you
do.
go. You can fly to wherever I am.
Okay, I'll watch you in action.
There you go.
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
And what's your birthday? I don't need to know the year. I just want to know what date were you born on?
January 2nd.
Oh, it's my son-in-law's.
It's
January
the worst
2nd.
birthday of the whole year.
Yeah, well, how about Christmas Eve?
Well, yeah, but everybody...
You have to share with the baby Jesus. This one, January 2nd,
Well,
it's just...
I don't want that sort of power.
Yeah,
But I will say, my birthday is everyone's, coming off holiday fatigue. They're back in the real world, the real zone, and it's just cold. Nobody's happy.
Well, maybe I'll give your wife a call afterwards.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk about that and get the boys round,
There we go.
squared away. And what's your walkout song?
Oh, my walkout song. I wish I would have maybe put more thought into this, but my 11-year-old tells me my walkout song is All I Do Is Win, 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 No Matter What by DJ Khaled.
Well, that's a pretty darn good walkout song.
It's like, I don't know, Braden, that's not a very humble walkout song, but I'll take it. You got to have confidence.
That's confidence, and it just goes to show you, that all politics is personal. Win,
go.
win, win.
That's
Keep doing it. Keep winning.
Thank you.
You're a good man. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to our partners, the Stavros Niarchos Foundation. And remember, all politics is personal.